I'm that girl who wants to talk to you about fear and being in despair. Seems to be sort of similar, triggering, isn't it? But one is we're afraid of something happening, and a sort of despair seems to be sort of like the next level, where you are afraid of something happening and then there is no hope. I think for whatever reason, they want me to talk about the difference of it. Okay, so we're very afraid of being triggered with our emotions. We're very afraid of being disrespected, very afraid of being not loved, blah, 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 right? Or are we? Because on our journey, as we've built up our love of self, our respect for self, and our empowerment of self, do we really get triggered or impacted when people don't want to give us those things that we already have given ourselves? Much of our lives, we have relied on others to be able to feed us, nurture us, keep us safe, and emotionally empower us through life as we learn how to do it ourselves. Now, lots of people have had fantastic childhoods that gave them that empowerment to know what true love is, to know what loyalty feels like, and all that fantastic stuff. And, that's to empower them to grow and to be able to show others that and to not lose their sort of way. Or you have the opposite, to be able to teach you profoundly the difference between what feels morally good and what feels morally different, and then be able to empower yourselves as big light workers. Whatever you've chosen for your life contracts, for your childhood experiences, perfect, beautiful, fantastic, even those challenging ones, right? Because they gave you lessons, because you wanted to learn the hard way certain things. And so, check back with your contracts, check back in with your life contracts and ask your subconscious, why on earth did I agree to do this? And they will tell you with much love. And so they will also recognize what you're still struggling with and how you've got a different kind of perspective of what those lessons and experiences were for. And the subconscious is fantastic when it comes into sessions to be able to explain all is well, my friends, all is well. And it truly is all is well. So in saying that, they have some new homework for you. How much fun, right? How much fun, how much fun. But they know you're all very capable of keeping your balance and neutral and keeping your high vibrations. And so this is it. This is what they would like for you to do. And they're very much aware that most of you did not do your lists for your own sessions, as if you were imagining what you would be wanting to ask in your own sessions. And so they're sort of like, well, you had an opportunity to make your own lists for sessions, and that's fine. Your free will, your choices. But for those people who did write their lists, they found that because they were setting the intentions to seek and find that information and answers, then they sort of got epiphanies to be able to help give them those feelings. And often people still like, oh, that was one feeling I got, one intuition that I got about that question. And I just, it's okay. But they want to, it came from me. In my consciousness while I was doing the dishes, that information came to me. So I don't know if I can trust it or whatnot, but, kind of makes sense. So bless, they're constantly trying to give us the answers of the questions we need. And someone accused me of knowing all of the answers to everything. And I sort of laughed because it's like, well, I do definitely do not know all the answers to everything, because I don't know all the questions to everything. And so I know the answers to the things I've asked. Yes, I've asked, feels like bajillions of questions about the shift and all of that stuff about how to get to New Earth and why, and Earth and Gaia and all this fantastic stuff. And I've got the answers, absolutely, I have, in many aspects, and from many collectives, from many clients, what the answers are to my questions. But I haven't certainly even scratched into the bigger questions that are, all of the information that the world has and the universe has. So to get all of the answers, we must be able to ask all the questions. So what are the questions that are still lingering for you that you want clarification from? I know that everyone's been enjoying listening to Conversations with Heaven on Earth and those sessions, but those are my questions and my clients' questions. So what are yours? What are your burning with desire questions that you want the answers for? Fantastic times to have a session. Interns are free. Anyway, so their actual homework is interesting because they want you to consider all possibilities moving forward. Okay, so they don't want you to go into fear, but they don't want you to stay in fear, and they don't want you to stay in despair. So it's kind of like the saying, just don't buy in. And there's a difference, my friends, with this homework. Don't buy into future fears. Okay. Don't buy it, because you know big things like everything's purposeful. There is a lesson there. There is a experience, an opportunity for growth. It's profound. It is protected and approved by everyone's guides and the life contracts. So it's all completely unfolding as it needs to be, as they view it from their vantage point of higher dimensional beings who know much more than us playing with the emotions of 3D. Okay, so there's that. So good to remind ourselves of that. And then now, with that in mind, think of, you may want to go big and start this big, or go small and do small things. But so there's a range, right? What's the worst thing ever that we could imagine happening in our lives that would impact us personally? Okay, so that's the big one. And then go right down to the range of the small ones, the things that are like, oh, really, that happened? Okay, so let's just play with that range, and but ultimately wanting you to consider all things that possibly could happen in your future, and be able to kind of feel into, well, what would the lesson be for that? What would the significance and the purpose be for that? Okay, so they wanted me to talk to you about my personal situations, just for you to have an idea, right? Because I don't want to project this onto you, because I don't want anyone to trip into fear or worry or despair. Because there's no reason to have despair, right? We have faith, we have trust, we understand that, thank gosh, there are high dimensional beings actually looking after this shit show. Because we would be in a sticky situation if humans were all that there was, right? With much love to humans and their 3D egos, they get tripped into certain things because they've been trained for centuries to be the way that they are. And this is why, it's very challenging for them to change their routines and their behaviors and their perceptions and their demeanors and their choices. So, there's that. So, okay, so let's think, for example, worst thing that could possibly ever happen to me, right? Well, I feel really balanced with things, as crazy as this sounds. So I'm going to say this, and this is this could be a really, like, God, she's a cold-hearted bitch, a projection that you may jump into assuming when you hear the first thing I want to say. Okay, so we have to see, our children exit first, my partner exiting first, that would personally impact me, obviously. And how would I perceive that? I would like to say from this balance and neutral that I would trust it's their life contract exit point, that there is agreements from their subconsciouses, that this was all purposeful. This is going to impact everyone around us who is, connected and emotionally to that person or those people. And so they're going to have reminders that every day is precious, that things could be taken away from us in an instant, and what people really mean to us. So many people would think, oh gosh, my house burning down, or my money being taken away from me, or something. It's a materialism. When you still have, if you've got that kind of like on your top 10 list of the worst things that could happen to you is your money gets taken away from you, or your house gets taken away from you, or your property, or something materialistic, that's a choice. That's fine. But there has to be some inner work there, because even when you die, so let's just pretend the shift's not going to happen, right? Even when you die, you can't take your possessions with you. You cannot take that shoe collection with you, I am sorry to say, but you can potentially, because as a ghost, you need lots of shoes. So, there's that. So let's just focus on what they're wanting. They're wanting you to think about all the things that could possibly really impact you, not to trigger you and not to give you into despair, but just thinking, what are the lessons and purposes and significances of that? Yes, you'd have an emotional reaction to it. Absolutely. It would be a shock. This is the hardest thing to, when your body goes into shock and your mind and emotions go into shock, what next? So as soon as you identify with the, oh my gosh, This is so upsetting. It will be overwhelming. Your body will release the adrenaline, which will translate into tears. There is no time that needs to be occurring to be able to overcome that sort of stuff. There's a lot of things that happen when we go into shock, and then we can start identifying with things. So, there's that. So how would you process family members shifting before you? How would you process losing all of your property while you're still alive? What is going on? How would you process that? What would be your emotional balance with that? And sort of see if you could feel into, is there lessons there when you overcome it? What would the purpose of having those experiences be? And would it empower you, and would it make you grow, or would it just destroy you? Ultimately, none of the experiences are designed to destroy you. Okay, so there's good things to know about that. And so there was something else they wanted to say, right? So apart from cleaning emotionally your house with your families and who's in your lives, and thinking about, well, what if I was the only person that I knew, right now that was still here to be of service, after the shifts and things? How would that make you feel, knowing what you know, right? Like, I guess you'd start having tangible proof that people were exiting before you when you saw that. So, again, not to trigger you into emotions, but just figuring out why. What's the lesson there, and how would you feel? Of course, when it does happen, it may not, we may not have the luxury of just being in this calm and balance, and we'll go through this roller coaster ride, which is significant and purposeful, and what we need to experience as our souls having those experiences. We know this, but for some reason, they're wanting us to just double check in and see how we actually are feeling about that. Are we in neutral and balance? Can we respect things from the higher perspective, from a metaphysical angle and perspective? So yeah, there's so much. Anyway, and they also want to say, okay, so then let's just move forward to bigger topics, say, like, what are we able to be in balance and neutral with things and events that happen around the world, right? So let's think of like the top 5 things that could happen: massive earthquakes, massive tsunamis, massive volcanoes, not saying that you will all experience this, but we have heard in sessions big changes of natural disasters, whether it's man-made or not. And then, of course, we have the laser. And then I haven't heard about a comet crashing on Earth, but with extensions of timelines, who knows, right? Fun and games. What about more disclosures? What if there was more disclosures about the crimes against humanity potentially? I'm not hearing that it will happen like that, but I am hearing other disclosures in sessions, which is going to be very interesting. And what would that look like? How would you process things that come out in the future? So it's very interesting. So let your imagination run wild and see how you feel about certain things happening to help awaken humanity, because ultimately everything is, right. Of course, the natural disasters are, the shifting of the instability of the planet, and what the effects are of a dying planet and how that naturally unfolds. So there's that. But there's so much other things, and our teams are really busy trying to find other ways to get humanity's attention and to be able to awaken it at a grander scale. And so what does that look like? Well, we know all these other things that have been happening are to nudge them into that direction. What are the bigger things that you could think of that would be coming potentially to be able to help assist with that? And how would you find when you just sort of daydream or sort of imagine with your creative minds what's next? How do you emotionally feel about that, and and process that? So fantastic times. This is a short one today. Thank goodness, right? Because sometimes there's so much information you can't process it all because it's just too much. We would like bite-sized information pieces, thank you very much, versus these big smorgasbords of content. Am I right, people? Anyway, much love to you, and for those people who are enjoying their Monday like I am, happy Monday, and enjoy your week ahead, your last few days of March. And for those people who are still enjoying your Sunday, your fun day, enjoy it, my friends. I really do love you. And I really hope that you're empowering yourselves the best that you can, because no one else can empower you as much as you can empower yourselves. You deserve empowerment. You deserve self-love completely. Self-worship yourself. It's not selfish. It's actually self-empowering. And when you can love yourself and empower yourself, it gives you so much joy that you can easily, with grace and joy, love others and share your beauty, share your high frequency vibrations, share your zest and your inspiration to seize every moment, to love every moment, to embrace every moment, and be just in that beautiful gift to humanity state of being that everyone notices how fantastic you are. You know, of course, that comes with some challenges as people feel threatened that somehow you're happy and they're not. But, you know, that's their choices, and you may inspire and encourage them to be able to pull their socks up and grow, or not. But remember, it's not your responsibility how people choose to live their lives and how they want to respect others or disrespect others. You know, it's a choice, and they've had many opportunities to grow just like we have. And when we have profound choices to empower ourselves and love each other, and that makes us feel so intoxicated with just love and joy and inner peace, you know, it's kind of strange when we look at other people who choose not to, right? So, you know, they do them, we do us. And with that, I say much love and appreciation for all of the support and love you guys always share with me. And it's just, it gives me so much joy. I love having you guys in my life so much.